3, 2, 1.
We'd like to welcome you to another edition of Grok Talk, brought to you by New Hampshire's leading conservative blog site, GraniteGrok.com. We are your feared extremist, right-wing, hard-charging, gun-toting, opinionated, outspoken, rabble-rousing, letter-writing, radio microphone-stomping conservatives and rational libertarians. So get ready for more news and opinion you could only get from GraniteGrok.com.
Grok Talk.
This is Grok Talk, and if you missed the live show, don't forget to check us out on your mobile device or anywhere you have a wireless connection on iTunes, TuneIn, iHeart, Stitcher, and Spreaker. You can also follow us on Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter. We are on YouTube. We have thousands of videos with all manner of candidate and individual, and please check out that massive archive that Skip has accumulated over the many years. There's tons of stuff there, especially for our Democrat trackers. You should just be there all the time.
Yep, just go to YouTube and ask for the Granite Grok channel. Over 2,500 videos at this point.
All right, so we're going to add this to it. Even though it's a phone conversation, it'll still end up on YouTube. We have the honor of having Ambassador Gregory Slayton on the program with us. He was a U.S. Consul General to Bermuda. He's a best-selling author, an Ivy League professor, a venture capitalist, and, the best part, a New Hampshire resident. Good morning, sir.
Oh, no. The best part is conservative. But good morning, Ambassador.
Thanks, brother.
All right. So since Mike was kind enough to get you on the program, we're going to let him start the interview.
Well, so Ambassador and myself have conversations periodically, especially during election season, on which horses we're backing and why, and we trade notes and stuff. And early on, Gregory Slayton let me know that he's a big fan of Governor Scott Walker and has been advising the campaign, helping in New Hampshire, and I believe, sir, you're now on board. And most importantly, you've been there and seen the crowd reaction in Wisconsin and in New York and other places.
Well, that's right, Mike. That's right. And as we've discussed, our party is blessed with a lot of fine candidates this time around, and that hasn't always been the case. So it's kind of an embarrassment of riches, maybe too many candidates running this time. But I have been blessed to know most of the candidates personally for years, not for months. And we did a lot of due diligence because my family and I, we really believe that, to whom much is given, much is expected. And my wife and I both grew up in very humble circumstances, but we've been blessed. So we want to really make a good choice here. And we looked at a lot of candidates and did a lot of due diligence. And at the end of the day, we have decided to back Scott Walker because he's a deeply conservative leader, but he's also a winner. And he's a winner in a deep blue state. In fact, he's taken a deep blue state, Wisconsin, and really turned it into a conservative state. And that's an amazing reality that has really benefited the taxpayers and all the people of Wisconsin.
And that is indeed fantastic. And he's getting a fairly good reaction on the campaign trail. I saw some very big crowds with my own eyes. I was there at his maiden voyage to New Hampshire when he came to Joey's Diner right after his announcement. And the diner was packed inside, plenty of press and lots of people, but it was the pictures of outside that really got my attention, and I posted those along with the video of the speech. Are you finding the same everywhere, Gregory?
Very much so. I was just with the governor, had the privilege of being with the governor down in New York City just this past week. And he was meeting with media. He did some Fox News stuff, meeting with supporters down there. And every single meeting, the crowds were much larger than expected. And, that's, I think, just a function of the fact that he is not just a talker. Now, nothing wrong with being a U.S. Senator. Obviously, it's a wonderful and a distinguished position. We've got some great conservative senators in the U.S. Senate. But the Senate, being a governor means you have executive experience. And I think that's what Governor Walker has shown, that he has mastered, the bureaucracy, and he has figured out how to get things done in a deep blue state of Wisconsin. Again, we can go into the specific record if you're interested, but it's truly an amazing record in terms of tax reform, in terms of limiting the scope of government, in terms of limiting what I would call the abuse of unions. I think unions can serve a good role, but sometimes they become, frankly, abusive in their powers, and the governor's gone after that. And conservative initiatives up and down the state, which has unleashed the power of the private sector, and now Wisconsin has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the country.
Sure. And the union members themselves are voting with their feet. You mean we don't have to pay these oppressive Jews anymore?
Hey, freedom is a wonderful thing, isn't it, brother?
It surely is. It surely is.
I'll tell you this, one other thing that's very much impressed us about Governor Walker, we need a candidate who can defeat Hillary Clinton. Or whomever. Look, if the Democratic Party nominates Joe Biden, who knows. But the odds-on favorite right now is Hillary Clinton, and we need someone who can not just win the primary, but can defeat Hillary Clinton. And that's what really put us to Walker, because it's going to be our candidate will be up against most probably Hillary Clinton, and she has guaranteed that she's going to raise $2 billion for this race. That's an amazing amount of money, $2 billion. So we need a candidate who can win independents, who can at least go at parity amongst young voters, and can do reasonably well amongst women. Right? And Scott Walker, everybody can say, yeah, I'm going to do that, but if you look at Scott Walker's electoral record in Wisconsin, that's what he's done. He's won, in the last election, he won independents by 11 points. Registered independents by 11. He basically split the youth vote, and he did reasonably well amongst women, and that is what we need.
How are you finding the reaction amongst the conservative grassroots, Gregory?
One of the things I love about Scott Walker is that he unites all factions of the Republican Party. Tea Party people, generally, of course, there's some folks that say, I'd rather vote for Donald Trump. And, I think we need someone who can beat Hillary Clinton. That's the key here. But I think Governor Walker unites, the donor community, but also the Tea Party grassroots, also those who feel that America must have a very strong national defense, and social conservatives, of whom I am one, and my family. We count ourselves in that category. And Governor Walker has passed a lot of common sense legislation that's very appealing to every single group of Republicans. I'll tell you this, Mike, he just signed about 2 weeks ago a very tough ban on late-term abortions. Well, as you probably know, banning late-term abortions is favored by about 75% of the American population. And he defunded Planned Parenthood the very first year he came to office as governor of Wisconsin.
And that's wonderful. Here our legislature defunded it, and our U.S. Senator did an end run around that.
Executive Council.
Now it's our Executive Council doing an end run around it, but it's previously it was Senator Shaheen. It's fascinating. The other thing that's interesting is that he doesn't seem to scare the party establishment. You can put a Donald Trump or a Ted Cruz out there, and we love Ted Cruz and we love his positions. He's not quite as bombastic as Trump, but he's bang on the money. But he scares the establishment. Somehow Governor Walker gets awfully close to those positions and doesn't scare them. Would you say that was the case?
Well, I think Governor Walker is a very calm, very good leader, and that's very critical. He doesn't fly off the handle, and and I don't want to speak badly about any Republican. I think that's important for us to remain united here, but I think that calm, even-keeled temperament is a huge asset, and people see that, and he doesn't scare folks. In fact, Fox is doing a series of tests around the country, and really finding that Governor Walker has the highest favorability and the highest likability when people hear him. The thing about the governor is still 50% of the Republican voters nationally really don't know him at all. But in these focus groups, as they come to know him, he's coming across very, very positively.
That's excellent. Now, he has a very good small donor network, which again is unusual for a regional candidate because of his ongoing victories against the unions. Those fights, especially I think back in 2011, really got the nation's attention. I know a lot of conservatives went there to join in the battle.
Yes.
It wasn't just the labor unions that went in there.
And only after the labor unions trucked in 100,000 people from around the country, to basically wave cowbells and threaten the governor. I mean, it was, when you are getting death threats, not just for yourself, but for your children and your wife, as the governor was, literally death threats.
Yep.
But he stuck to his guns, and he said, guys, for the taxpayers of Wisconsin and for our children and their children, we must reform. And I think that's very much the situation that America is in right now. We must go in a different direction. This slow growth, Washington knows best, top down, we'll figure it all out. You can just sit there and receive your check, your welfare check or whatever it is. This is not the America that we inherited from our parents, and it shouldn't be the America we pass on to our children.
No, and a scenario that cannot go on forever won't. I mean,
Correct.
Spending all that money from Washington, eventually the country is bankrupt. Skip, looks like you're preparing to ask a question.
Yeah, I do have a question, and I think this is something that a lot of conservatives kind of look at Scott Walker and go, okay, he looks pretty acceptable, first, if not first choice, second or third, so he's certainly in the hunt. But one sticking point that, and it does concern me because I am all about the rule of law, and certainly a nation without borders is no nation at all. And I have big concerns about Walker's stance on illegal immigration and the path to citizenship or legal work status, because I'm a great reader in the blogosphere, so I'm reading lots of sites every single day. And over time, I'll be honest with you, I can't tell exactly what his actual position is because it seems to change depending on both time and perhaps who he is talking to at the time. And I'm very leery about that. Your comment?
Well, first of all, I can't speak specifically for the governor. I think it's fair that in some cases, positions evolve. I don't think anybody accuses the governor of flip-flopping on, the importance of life, the importance of limited taxes, the importance of constitutional government, not at all. I think the governor over the last couple of years, as he has been to the southern border, as he has considered and begun to really study up on national immigration issues, he's gotten a lot tougher on these things. There's no question about that. I heard him speak on this very issue just this past Wednesday morning in Greenwich, Connecticut, to a group of conservatives, and but also a mixed group. So this wasn't just conservatives. This was Republican conservatives. This was also some of the establishments and donors. It was a good big group, and he was foursquare about the importance, about the critical importance of defending our borders. In fact, he himself said, I thought this was very interesting, that if we don't defend our borders, we don't really have a sovereign nation. Right? And he spoke about not just the problem of illegal immigration, but what that brings in terms of national security issues, not just drugs and guns, but also potentially, terrorists and terrorist weaponry. So he was very, very strong on the importance of defending the border. I think, as he's proven in Wisconsin, he's not a guy who's going to make quixotic claims like, we're going to build the wall, we're going to build a wall all the way up and down the border. That's not ever going to happen. Nobody's got the money to do that, first of all. But he did talk about employing drones and the latest in modern technology to really seal off the border. And I think that's a critical first step. I think we'd all agree.
All right, Ambassador, can you stick around for a few more minutes? We have to take a quick break.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sure. All right.
Okay, well, that'd be great. Thank you.
Hang on a minute, and we're going to take a 60-second break, and we'll be right back.
Yep.
Rock.